Okay, so this is the list. Okay, it began at Firestone on Monday, the 19th, which was the second day of the week. It began with a vote sign. Okay, the vote sign was on a vehicle. It was on the back, and it said, "I vote. I'm a Christian." And it referenced Second Chronicles 7:14, I believe it was. Anyway, I wrote it down, and I can't verify that because I threw it away, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Let me double check. I'll double check here. It was the scripture about healing the land if you will obey. Was it 7:14? So let me see here. If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land. Okay, so I pretty much knew when I saw the vote sign on the back of this SUV on this second day of the week in the evening that at Firestone, that it wouldn't really be a voting reference. So anyway, that's why I noted it and I wrote it down so I could check to see if it was going to be a voting reference, which I pretty much knew it wasn't going to be. But here's what happened. Now, on Tuesday, see all the twos? On Tuesday, I saw a vehicle with a chick driving it, and it said "Sluts Vote." And I was like, that's kind of weird that I saw this "I vote, I'm a Christian" the night before, and I see a "Sluts Vote" the next day on Tuesday. I didn't really put it together at this time as to what was happening. As I tooled on down the road, I saw a black guy walking down the sidewalk and a black guy in his yard, and these two black guys hugged each other as they, like the neighbor was walking by or whatever. And they were a couple of big jolly fellows, and they hugged each other. I was like, that's kind of cool. They're showing love and everything, and I thought, that's kind of cool. And then I thought, wow, I wonder if they would hug a white guy with all the, the racial division that's been cast on America in the last, 6, 7 years, whatever. And I did think that, and I felt, kind of, I felt negative for thinking that anyway. So I get back to where I was going, and I get another delivery, and I come up on the corner, and I see this older lady hug this younger boy, like it could have been her grandson or something, and I was like, that's kind of, I said, well, now I've seen the voting signs, even though it wasn't on the same day, but you got to understand this was on the second day of the week for the first vote sign. And then these two hugs. And at this point, when I saw this second hug, I started thinking, what is this? Now I'm seeing two hugs. Well, there was two murders of crows that day that I had witnessed. One was when I came home for lunch, and the crows were just going crazy. And I was like, and I noted it, and I was like, I wonder if they're like eating baby robins, or what are they doing that they're all so active. I thought maybe they were mating. I didn't know what it was. But what I do know is that when I saw them, when I got back to work from lunch, and I went to another account, and this was miles away from where I'd seen the first one, that I actually was like, okay, I'm going to call the woman and ask her if the crows are acting funny, because there's a bunch of evergreen trees up where she works. And she hadn't seen any. So I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. Two murders of crows. Okay, so at that point, I was like, oh, is there something going on here? Well, then I'm thinking about the day, and it was the 20th. So I'm thinking, these twos, and this is the 20th, and I'm thinking, this is pretty weird. So then I get to this other place, which was the place I used to work. If you guys know where I said about this place, it had two churches that you could see two steeples from it. And it's basically the distribution center that they had built in a new building, and that last phone that was installed in there had the 322 on it. It's a 41 building as well. And so as I was walking up there, I saw 231s on this guy's motorcycle. Well, I found out today that motorcycle got crashed, actually, but that's a whole different story. But I noticed the 231s, and I was like, this is really weird. And that's when I started feeling like I was being shown these twos and these signs, and it was very strange. Well, that Monday, the London attack from the van that had the 322s, I showed you the picture, that was also something that I had discovered about the van, with the V was right over these 222s. So I thought that was extremely interesting. And the fact that it happened on a Monday, you will have to look that up to find out that actually happened on that Monday. And so there again, I'm thinking, wow, this is weird. These twos are all over the place. Then next place I go, there's two alternators, right? And these are the numbers on them. And I thought, that's pretty close. Those numbers are pretty close to the numbers that was on the van. But I came back and I discovered it was a little different. But you have the 211s were on there. So that week, I also had 2 days off at 1 o'clock. So I thought that this was weird because I don't usually have 2 days at 1 o'clock at all. I hadn't had that for over 3 or 4 months. So I found that to be significant. After this 31, it was actually between the 31 and these alternators, I drove up to another account that had two pigeons were right over the last of this phone number, which had a 22 in it. That same week, there was two managers the week before this, there was two managers that were missing, and I had to cover for them. It was very hectic. It was a very hectic 2 weeks because the one guy had a death in the family, and he was gone for the 1 week, and then the next week they were both gone. The head manager and the commercial manager. I'm like, what? And I had to cover this stuff, So I noted all this, and it was very strange to me. But that week that this occurred, there was another guy there training my new manager. And so there was two of them in the store for this week right here that we're looking at. So basically that's my twos thing. Now, the next day after that, like I said, I had never ever thought about Tuesday in reference to the number 2. I just had never done that before. But after I looked into this a little more, I was like, all of a sudden it hit me. Wow. This began on a Monday, which was the second day of the week with that vote sign, but it carried on into Tuesday with what happened to me. That actually made me write all this down. So that was the 20th. So you had Tuesday, which begins with a T. So you had the 20, and you had the Tuesday, which T is 20. So you had a 22 for all that as well. And when I recognized that aspect of what was going on here, that's when I started thinking about the 2 witnesses and this being attached to the BB code. So I wasn't really going to share this information, but obviously I'm being prodded from a member of the forum, and so go ahead, make fun of me, call me crazy, call me call me a number tard or whatever you want to call me. It's okay, because I'm really, really happy that I looked into this. And of course, I also realized after I thought something was going on here, that's when I realized that the two witnesses are in chapter 11, which 2 and 11 is 22 again, which you have right here on this, the alternators right there. And then further going into number in scripture, finding out about Jeroboam and Ahab. Now that the Ahab connection was huge for me because of Elijah and what was going on with him and Ahab and Jezebel. Then, of course, there was the she-bears, the two bees that came out of the wood and attacked the children for making fun of Elisha, even though they witnessed Elijah going up into those ships. So why they were making fun of that really makes the guy wonder what might have been going on at that time. It just leads a person to think that maybe those ships were not as elusive, so to say, as they are right now, or, during most of my life anyway, even though I've witnessed what I think was, in fact, what I think was the throne of God when I was homeless in 94. I don't know if I told you guys this or not, but the new license plate on my truck has a C94 and an 82, which 94 is the year I saw those vehicles, and 82 is the throne of God. So that's very strange. I mean, it's also the middle of my social security number. And it's also in my phone number as well, that 82, which these numbers, they have a tendency to look at different things. In relation to the video, the Skull and Bones and 15 Bonesmen, you have the 22 and the 11, and that video is about Skull and Bones and the 322 number, and I've come to find out that second hand pointing at Bush at 40 seconds and 1 o'clock, you can make a 41 out of that, is actually indicating there would be two Bs there. So I'm looking at that whole as a BB thing as well. Subsequently, I've gone on to add that right there, Nixon doing this, the BB with the victory here. As crazy as it may all sound, this is what I've actually attached to this. So I've got my eyes wide open, waiting. I don't know how this is going to manifest itself, but I do believe this is an indication that we are closer than ever. Obviously, that's obviously a fact, right? Only for the believers. So there's my video. I'll upload this one. The other one was way more convoluted. Anyway, I hope you liked my video.